What can you tell us about your report from yesterday regarding the PA and Kyle Dubas' agent? What's the Cole's notes of that story?
Yeah, so it's kind of an in the weeds, inside baseball type of story, but essentially there's been a number of agents that are certified by the NHLPA that have essentially, for lack of a better phrase, lodged a complaint with the PA, and now they're reviewing the fact that Kyle Dubas is represented by Chris Armstrong from Wasserman. He's in a separate arm and division of Wasserman, but he works at the same firm as the one that represents Auston Matthews among 70 other players in the NHL. And so the agents are sort of crying foul, saying, look, that's a no-go. That's been expressly prohibited from NHLPA regulations and meetings. I can't find anywhere, Nick, in the black and white that says that's the case. It says agents are prohibited from representing executives and GMs and coaches, but it doesn't say agencies. So I don't believe that anything nefarious has taken place. I believe Chris Armstrong is a longtime friend of Kyle Dubas and someone that agreed to represent him here. I think everything is sort of on the up and up in terms of it being an arm's length transaction. But when you get to the point that the NHLPA tells you that they're reviewing the matter, well, that's a story. And so Kyle Dubas also knows better that this would be perceived as a conflict of interest because he also knew all of these regulations and was subject to them as a former player agent. So I think Kyle Dubas knew better and probably should have, if he needed representation, picked someone else. But nonetheless, that's the spot that we're in now. I think the big thing is with a new regime in place in Marty Walsh at the NHLPA, is he going to put a stake in the ground? Is there going to be any sort of punishment? It wouldn't be towards Kyle Dubas. It wouldn't be towards Chris Armstrong. It would be towards Wasserman, which represents 71 NHL players, including some of the biggest stars in the game, Auston Matthews, Connor McDavid, Roman Josi, etc.
Any idea what a punishment like that would look like, Frank? Like that's the thing that came to my mind right away is like, what's the punishment if you're found guilty of that?
Well, I think, honestly, I don't know, but I would say one of the big things would be to change the regulation as well, that you can't have someone down the hall in your same office, representing someone on the other side of the table. And that's really the biggest issue for these other agencies that are complaining. It's not that they, essentially they do have issue with it, of course, but the idea is they're like, we keep our shop squeaky clean. Like we have a hockey division at our agency and we only represent hockey players. So we have other parts of our agency that represent coaches and media and all these other things, but we don't dabble in hockey executives and coaches, and frankly shouldn't be allowed to based on the information that could be traded back and forth and the horse trading. So they're saying like, we don't do it. Many other places don't do it because that's what we believe the regulations to be. Why should Wasserman be any different?